Okay, what's up everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm Nardo. You guys have seen the other, if you haven't seen the other videos on the channel, go ahead and check them out already. I basically make like lifting videos, tier list videos. A lot of the videos I'm going to make is reactions. I made a couple of vlogs too. I've only made one vlog and that was the anterior day, so go ahead and check that if you haven't already. But today I'm going to be reacting to obesity being the choice, because this is a topic I want to dive a lot into. And this is not like, this is completely not clowning on anybody. I would just share like experiences I had, because we can pop up some pictures right there and then pictures about right now, because this is serious. And I'm not just gonna, oh, shit on people, shit on people, shit on people, but I'm gonna keep this as objective as possible, if I can, without like firing any attacks or shots of any matter. And I'm just gonna say, what worked for me. If anybody says anything crazy that's debunked or anything like that, and let's get right into it. First thing I see is fit men versus overweight men, which I'll slightly define that. I see that he is here. What's his name? Oh, that guy. This guy on podcasts. Oh no, he says some okay thing. I forgot his name. Bro, I see clips of him on TikTok all the time. If you guys can identify who this guy is, because he goes into really controversial stuff, whether it's about being fat, but I know it has a lot to do with he talks about political things, but a lot of things having to do with like he does speak on a lot of controversial things. I'm not gonna say what. 180 pounds, but yeah, okay, I looked it up. His name is Tyler Path. Um, that guy, I really like what he says. I forgot his name for a while. I've not seen him, but he's 5'6", 135 pounds. He's pretty lean. And one thing this might talk about is body mass index. I've seen the other one. I might react to the other one at some point, but I'm not sure. So I know who these two guys are. This is Greg Doucette. I know who he is, and then this guy. But it doesn't. The title might be a little bit misleading. First off, because it says fit men versus overweight men, and while these are like overweight men, these guys would be like fit, like not completely fit, objectively speaking, because you could still plug in their weights to a BMI scale. And I know BMI scales aren't inaccurate, but you could still get weight that's in an unhealthy range. Um, I know I could talk about the use of gear and stuff like that, steroids, any of that matter, like whether it really counts as fit or not, because there's some like cardiovascular issues and issues with organs that go into there. But I'll take it with a grain of salt. Not gonna fire shots at anybody. I like what Greg Doucette says a lot. The only thing I really don't like is like turkesterone, because I don't even know what it is, and that's something I've been very skeptical about. But I do watch his videos. His videos are really funny. He's a really funny dude. That's how he retains attention. But I'm not gonna waste a lot of time. How much time have I wasted? I've wasted 4 minutes of just yapping. Okay, sorry guys. I'm getting into the video right away.
Being in a fat body and being in the public space encourages obesity? Yes.
Shame is what led me to an eating disorder.
Whose fault
When
is that,
what
though?
we're looking for is
Whose fault is that?
stability.
That's your fault.
It's
See, the
an
problem is that you're a
amalgamation.
professional victim.
See, okay, yeah, that guy. Obviously, I'm not firing shots extremely hard, but that guy, bro, when he says something, and whether it's to fat guys or sometimes maybe like what I was gonna say earlier was women. He talks to he would take a lot of critiques maybe on like modern feminism. So I'm not gonna talk about that shit at all, because I'm in no way qualified to talk about that. But bro, that guy, I know him for taking shots. Like and whether you like him or not, I'm not gonna talk too heavy about that. Remember, we're gonna keep this channel objective. I'm not gonna say any harsh opinions or anything like that. But bro, that guy just says what he's on his mind and he sticks by that shit. So I have some respect for that, but I don't know his name. I've seen clips of him. Somebody comment what his name is. And who was it that what shame led to an eating disorder? That does make it a little bit of sense, because how do I explain it? When you're I can say that when you're a little bit stressed out, you end up eating more, and then because you ate, you're also stressed. So it's like this weird like negative feedback loop where it just keeps on getting shittier and shittier. So, and I responded well to shame. Like shame's what actually got me skinny and stuff like that. And I know it doesn't work for everybody, but yeah, that's why I want to stay as neutral as possible. Come on, we gotta help people, encourage people as much, because everybody at least has different methods of growing. Some people grow in the harshest conditions, whereas others they grow from being helped. It depends. It depends on what kind of person you are. But that guy, boom, shots right away. That's what I was expecting from it. I didn't know what else to expect. I'll put his name up if I can find him.
Would you agree, like, looking at his physique, like, he's at a perfectly, I would say, maybe healthy.
Bro, holy shit. This guy doesn't look that fat, but his beard is like perfectly edged up. This isn't if okay, he's wearing a flannel, but he looks like you wouldn't see him as an overweight dude just because of the face card. So I wouldn't say he doesn't look unhealthy by looking at him. I don't know why he's on its head. Yeah, he might be like objectively obese. Yeah. Now that I look at it there, yeah. But his face card is gonna get him out of like those situations.
Episodes of Middle Ground, but I'll now be moderating today's discussion between jacked men and fat men. Our first prompt is, I have felt disgusted looking at a fat body. Can our agreeers please step forward?
Ooh, except for Tyler and who else?
Whoever feels
Bro,
compelled to
Tyler,
start,
Tyler's a dude. He's like an extremely nice. He's an extremely nice person. He doesn't say any controversial stuff. This guy, I already said he's a little bit more controversial, but Tyler, he never ever spreads hate. He tries to stay away from controversy. And that other dude too, he just looks like a friendly giant as well, but not about that.
Well, it's unacceptable to be fat. Okay. That's a great start. I mean, I know why you say that, but it's one of those things where, do you know why you're saying that?
Yes, because I've been fat before and I lost the weight.
Well, me too. I've been fat my whole life. I've been way skinnier than I am now, and I've been way heavier than I am now. Was I less valuable at one point in there?
Well, I mean, you can make an argument that you're less valuable when you're fatter because you drain resources, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, in general, being fat is unacceptable because you control every single morsel of food that goes into your mouth.
Okay.
It shows a lack of discipline. It shows a lack of character. It shows a lack of temperance. And when you're fat,
Draining
it's
resources,
an outward manifestation of your inadequacies.
When I see somebody who's 500 or 600 pounds, all I can think of is, why do they care so little about their health that they can do this, allow themselves to gain that much weight, knowing it's taken 20, 30, 40 years off their life? I just can't imagine not wanting to live that badly.
I understand that. No, it's I've definitely felt disgusted looking.
One thing you do see about like, okay, he's talking about extremely severe cases. I don't think any of these guys are on 500, 600, 700 pounds. But when you do get to that point where you're almost immobile, it can once getting there is really it's really complicated speaking about it. Like I guess the psychology behind it. But once you get there, you're basically encouraged to stay there by at least our health standards today because being unemployed at 600 or 700 pounds you can get put like on disability and everything like that. And I'm not saying that to fire shots or anything like that, but that's only going to make the issue worse. Like obviously that guy talked about draining resources, but when somebody's that heavy and you put them on that, you're encouraging them to stay there. And it's like if they want to get skinnier and skinnier and stuff like that, then they're going to have to hunt for a job. The moment they can slightly walk, they have to hunt for a job. In those 2 years where they're in that awkward in between phase where they can't really do disability. Oh my god, sorry. And they can't really walk completely well either because their body's getting used to it. It's absolute hell looking for a job. So, and it's the same thing with the wage. The whole wage window, like where you if your wage is low enough to apply for snaps, or if it's high enough so we can get out of it when you're in that in between stage, you're basically like they kind of want you to stay to just stay at that weight. Nothing stopping you from cutting down. And if you cut down, you might be even more cooked, especially if you don't have a good caretaker, or if your caretaker is working a lot and stuff like that, and the ones who encourage it. But being at that weight and losing the weight, it's basically like hell on earth for 2-3 years. You're not going to be able to make up for in that wage where you're not eligible for a disability.
At my own body and looking at other fat bodies in my life. A lot of the disgust I felt looking at people was me feeling disgusted with myself and then projecting that feeling onto other people. And I don't think anyone on either side
Greg,
will
bro.
disagree.
Bro,
that
what's his
health is
face?
important. I know that my own mental health was way worse when I was spending every fixate of my life trying to get smaller and trying to be thinner.
I don't think there's anyone that can look at somebody 500, 600, 700 pounds and not think, wow, what have they done? And not be disgusted. Like, how can you not? I just can't understand.
You can't
nobody
assume that
thinking
everyone
that.
has the same opinion, though, because unfortunately, some people have emotional stuff that happened, traumatic stuff that's happened, so you can't discount and just say, oh,
Boo-hoo,
because
man.
they're fat.
Boo-hoo, man. Like, there's way worse stuff going on.
This
in the
guy,
world
bro.
Versus people saying, oh my God, I'm sad, I'm gonna eat some ice cream. It's like, no, dude, it's like, you're fat, you made that decision, you live in the best country ever. If you live in a civilized first world country where you have electricity, internet power, etc., you deserve to be bullied. It's ridiculous to me that we have all these fat people running around. Meanwhile, people are being bombed in Gaza. It's ridiculous. We are so privileged here in the United States and in the West in general. When I see a fat person, I'm like, wow, you got the gift of life. You got the gift of being in a developed country, and you're a fat POS talking about body positivity on TikTok? What the hell is going
But now
on
you're
here?
segmenting, though, because not everyone thinks like that. What do you
No, we
call
need
it?
to bring shaming back.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, like body, the whole thing with body positivity, or at least originally it was for people that were disabled in the traditional sense or couldn't really do anything. There was not anything in their power that they can control about it. So there has to be positivity in that segment. All of the these two guys have just been standing in the back here for a minute. All of the body positivity that comes from obesity is all controlled factor, if I can say it. So I guess it has been skewed a little bit there and may have been mispurposed. But I'll see what this guy says more about it.
We need to bring shaming back in so many other regards besides obesity. We need to do it with sluts. We need to shame fat people. We need
Yeah,
to shame everything.
that's what I was talking about. That's exactly what he does on his podcast a lot. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but he's had a lot of controversial figures on it. I know that's not the topic of this video, but now it's starting to remind me what he does.
Because
I just couldn't explain
shame
it.
has been one of the strongest defenses against degeneracy and human fuck-ups.
You had a personal experience you wanted to share. You said you used to be overweight. Now you're
Oh
not.
yeah, so I did an experiment back in like 2015 where I like bulked for like almost 2 years, and I got up to like 250 pounds, and then I dieted down. It took me about 7 months. I systematically did it, control my calories, tracked my macros, tracked my protein, carbs, fats, and systematically lost 1 to 2 pounds per week.
So you chose to gain up to 250.
Yeah,
you were
so
naturally
I've been in all
beforehand.
spectrums. Like I'm naturally skinny.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna get fat as an experiment.
Yeah.
Did it, and then I was like, all right, now I'm gonna lose the weight. And then all I did was just track my calories, ate the same food every single day.
Yeah.
Went to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and everything was controlled, and it got done. Was it monotonous? Of course. Was it
No,
boring?
yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
I agree with you there. I am naturally this way. This is with working out 4 or 5 times
That's
a week.
not true.
This is 100%
No, you
true,
can't,
bro.
Nah, bro.
No,
Come to the gym with
it's
me.
not.
This is me
It's
working
not.
I guess it's a little bit more gray area than that. He could be working out 5 times a week. I guess it's just your weight is dictated by how you eat. Working out can play a small factor, especially if you do a lot of zone 2 work. Because zone 2 specifically targets fat. It doesn't make you hungry like HIIT does. That's why I like to spam it. That's why I do it in intervals, because that shit makes me extremely hungry. But I wouldn't exactly like. Obviously, he might be talking out his ass, but I have no idea of knowing if that's true or not. But I get what he's saying. At a certain point, there may be some discipline in the gym, but it's just not all there in the kitchen. Because if it was like that, I guess this guy would have more of a bigger frame, I guess, in the chest and shoulders. So he doesn't look like he trains extremely often just based off the flannel. But that's just me subjectively speaking. But if we return to objective thinking, we
Because
see
at the end of the day, if you don't lose weight, by definition, you're not in a calorie deficit. If you're not in a calorie deficit, then you're gonna either maintain or gain weight, and that's the problem is that people don't track their calories.
And that's true, but
dude, this guy, like, at least W to this guy, bro. He's at least in some things he's in full acceptance, whereas the other people in the background, like, they're in somewhat of denial. But this guy, he accepted an objective fact and didn't speak off of anecdotal evidence like the other guy did. All like my emotions and stuff like that. Anecdote, that's what I mean by that. And he chose to listen to an objective fact, which is like, if you want to lose weight, you just have to take your calorie maintenance. You take your weight, your gender, maybe your height, how often you work out a week, you plug it into a calculator, it's going to spit out a number back to you. You subtract 300 calories off of that if you want to go extremely slow. Or if you're extremely, extremely obese, you can subtract even more because it depends on what percent of your body weight you lose each week. For general people sitting around the 180 to 240 range, it's like you can lose like a max like about 2 pounds per week. Once you start going to below like 170 and you're sort of lean, it turns into 1 to like 1.5. But that's how I at least know for weight. I know for percentage is different, but at least W for accepting an objective fact. That's honestly like at least on these things, Jubilee, whether it's Jubilee, like TLC, and my 600-pound life, people have a really deep struggle in it, accepting what's objective and applying their anecdotal opinion or anecdotal experience onto an objective fact because they think they can speak for an entire group.
People burn at their resting metabolic rate a different set of calories.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, W guy.
Let's
True.
not get too granular right now. Rogany, it's going to be one of those episodes, right? Let's bring in the disagreeers and hear from them.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, Tyler.
If you're a first
Oh,
or
I
second
got
year
an ad.
med student taking anatomy and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed because of how much information.
Okay, so the reason I disagreed, especially when I heard the statement, I don't think I'll ever look at somebody based on their situation and think that I'm disgusted. Like, if I see somebody that's a drug addict on the street that's homeless, I'm not disgusted by that. If I see somebody that's incredibly overweight, I'm not disgusted by that. Do I think that there's an opportunity for growth? Do I think they've been put in a disadvantageous position that's probably makes it harder for them? Absolutely. I think I'm kind of an empath, so when I see somebody, I know that there's things underlying, and one of my best friends is 400 plus pounds. I've helped him.
This is a side comment, but most guys you see that are this size, it's either gonna be like they're the most like empathetic person, like nowadays, and stuff like that, because they have a lot of experiences like that, or you're gonna get like the exact hard opposite, like what's his name? Who was it? The guy that kept on saying, "Oh, but I'm 260 though. I'm 260. I'd beat you in a boxing match." I forgot his name. Or you could get somebody on a polar opposite end. It's kind of hard to find a middle ground, and that's not saying anything bad. Greg Doucette, he like says stuff like, "Oh, it gets him screen time," and he's like funny as shit. So I guess it can go like that. But usually, like these people, at least if you're a beginner going into the gym, don't be scared of these guys at all, because 90% of them, 95% of them are the most friendly, most empathetic people you can meet. And obviously they can look a little bit intimidating, but these are the friendliest people ever, I swear.
Lose 150, 200 pounds. He's gained it back. And I don't look at him and say, I'm disgusted, but I know how bad he wants it. And just seeing how hard he tries and then reverts, it's almost more tough for
Yo,
me.
I can tell this dude's getting pissed. I don't know what it is about it, but I've already said, oh my god, I said it so many times. It's kind of interesting seeing him in the corner. You see these guys' reactions. Greg's been just sitting here like, I don't know, but bro, this guy, the way his eyes are moving, bro, you cannot predict what he says next.
And to be like, oh, that's disgusting, And I think there's plenty of people that look at me and say, that's disgusting. I never want to look like that. So like, I know what it feels like on the other side to like look the way I do and get people look at me like, ugh, that's gross to like have that muscle. And to go back to that point, like you came from a fit place and like deciding to bulk, like that's a conscientious decision to gain weight. Like you already have those habit routines and skills in order to stay in shape. And then you use those same skills you had to pull back on the calories and knowledge you had.
The reason why I use that example is that you can get fat and lose the weight if you know what you're doing and you have the knowledge and everything else like that. It's just about consistency over time. So it's like, I look at it like...
Let me cut you off, because here's one thing that you just said.
Yeah.
You had the tools. So there's people that don't have the tools that you've passed judgment on, and you have failed to realize that with the tools, people are very much capable of achieving amazing things. But
okay, let's talk about set
no,
tools.
hold on, I'm not done.
Well, you cut me off
I'm
before,
not done.
remember?
And I stood over there and I listened to you, and I was like, it's a ton of bullshit too.
Oh, sure.
But we're gonna address
Oh,
this.
you're gonna get
right?
hot in this one.
You are passing judgment on people who lack the tools to do what it is that
Tools.
they need to do
I want to
to
hear
get
about that too.
themselves to a certain point of health. There are multitudes of factors that weighs into what goes on with somebody's body. There are people that even if they work out, losing the weight does not come as simple as just going to the gym, cutting calories, watching everything that you eat. There are some people that have a disposition. I have a disposition. But does that mean that I'm not active? Does that mean that I'm not doing certain things? No, it doesn't. But you're passing judgment on somebody's body that you know nothing about. Now, on the flip side, what if I turned around and I did the same thing to you? You're talking about how fit and stuff that you are, but you're over there and you're small as compared to these other guys. So how does that feel if someone comes? No, because you said shame, right?
That's a little.
You said shame, right?
Yeah.
So how does that feel if someone comes up and they start shaming you for size? Like, come on, it goes both ways.
We're just in the first
So,
prompt. We got to be
here's the
careful
thing.
about targeting each other too directly. You
No, I
definitely.
mean, I'm not offended. It's fine. He's
No,
emotional,
it
and that's
goes
fine.
in every direction.
He's obviously very triggered.
Oh,
But
I'm
yeah,
not
so let's.
Yeah, okay, bro. The way he has some pretty good rage bait tactics, but I don't know what this other dude, this dude, and obviously the suit, he knows, that guy knows how to dress, obviously, but he does look, the outfit's pretty cool and everything like that. That's obviously off topic, but what he said about like tools and I have a disposition, I'm really interested in hearing that, because obviously he's gonna watch in the next 2-3 seconds. He's gonna bring up what is that tools, what are those tools, and what is that disposition you were talking about, because I'm really interested on hearing that too. And it's like, it's obviously one of the core three, like it's a slower metabolism, it's it could be a thyroid issue, maybe like, I don't know, a mineral imbalance or something like that, but I wouldn't exactly um, no, obviously it can be difficult, but thermodynamically speaking, like it's a scientific, objective fact. Like we had Sam like talk about the law of thermodynamics. If you eat at a certain amount of calories that's below your maintenance over time, that's gonna make you lose weight. Like objectively speaking, as much as possible, it's a scientific fact that cannot be denied. But obviously, and he does make sense when he says like everything that goes into your mouth, like all of the calories you're consuming and stuff like that. That's what it is. Like it's a factor you can control. But some people have like extreme amounts of ghrelin, like that are inconceivable. Like what drives somebody to eat 20, 30, 40,000 calories in one day? That's when cases get extreme. But some people have that hormone extremely pumped through the roof, and it does make a little bit of sense. But you have to, there's a reason that that hormone got there, and a lot of times it's the habits growing up and genetics, whether it's like, and usually when the habits are passed down to you, that hormone, especially if it develops when you're little, and I had to develop like when I was little, like if you get fat in your toddler years, that is extremely unhealthy, or into your teenage years while your entire body is still developing, then you're gonna offshoot it pretty much for the rest of your life. If you don't get it seriously fixed, you might have issues for the rest of your life because you got that issue while you were developing. But if you tackle it, I'm pretty sure if you were to tackle good habits off of somebody as a baby, and they ended up developing their hormones consistently, because that's the only thing I can imagine. Maybe a lower leptin level that signals fullness and a really high ghrelin level. That's the only thing I can think about, but that's something that's not influenced by genetics. It'd be influenced by habit, at least in the area or region.
Talk about. Let's hit the first part. Tools.
Well, sorry, genetics to a certain extent. Um, Speaking like a little bit of genetics, but that's not
What are the
a
tools?
very
The tools
extreme
are simply
factor.
knowledge, which you can get for free on the internet. If you have the ability and the discipline to go out there and get the knowledge, then you're going to lose weight. It's just that simple. It's just that people want to always make excuses for why. Oh, my feelings. Oh, I don't know what, you don't know what people are going through. Blah blah blah. No.
And I don't think the dude in that sitting in the stool in the middle, I don't think he's telling him to stop because obviously it's not true. He just doesn't want an argument to happen. He's like he's like supervising the whole situation. I can understand that.
You can watch your calories. You can go to the gym. You have time to do it. People just like to make excuses.
I don't think anyone's debating that weight loss is impossible here. I think the question is, why do you hate fat people, that you feel the disgust towards it?
Well, like I said before, it's a culmination of a bunch of bad decisions. I'm not going to go ahead and give the same level of respect to someone who's a fat ass to someone that has worked really hard and diligently on their physique, because your body's outward manifestations
There's more
of your decisions,
factors to
your
a human
consistency.
being than their body.
Well, you could judge a lot just off of someone's physique. You'd be like, okay, well, this guy is lazy, and that's personified through their physique. It's the truth.
Abe, I thought you.
Yo,
I saw.
Tyler's reaction was, whoa. But I mean, yeah, walking around, it's the first thing that you can tell, like based off of somebody's habit and stuff like that. Maybe the way they dress, like um hygiene, the way they dress, their habits and stuff like that. You can easily tell based off of somebody. So at least it's like some predictor, and there could be some other skills that they accelerate in, but it's just like biologically speaking, as humans, we're wired to work with and reproduce with like the people that we see must fit. It's just like, at least from an animalistic sense, because they live longer and stuff like that, better to work with those people. But I'm not gonna get into that, but it's just I could see it to a certain extent. This guy said a lot of what he says is extremely true. He just has really harsh deliveries, which does it works for some people. I would say.
I think we just kind of went all over the place there.
Yeah, we're still focusing on the word disgust.
Just the word disgust. I mean, I would never look at someone and show disgust towards them. I mean, I think I would respect, like you said. I mean, you don't respect everyone, like you said, but I think
Respect is earned.
I mean, it is earned, but I mean, I think at a humane level, we can learn to appreciate each other's differences.
Yeah, I don't know if like disgust would be the right word, right?
I know.
Greg mentioned some health implications with being overweight and obese.
Yeah,
I think
completely talking about Greg. Greg is a very objective speaking guy. It's just like specifically health implications. That's what makes it unhealthy for you. It's just two leading factors: health implications and what's in one person, what's in their control and stuff like that. And that's what obesity is. Because whereas like a disability or anything like that would have health implications, but it's not like somebody can control that. So you shouldn't be differing your respect based on uncontrollable variable. I already said it about that, but yeah, Greg does he brings up some really good like objective points. He like rambles a lot, but he actually hasn't talked too much on here. I want to hear him talk.
being concerned might be a better.
That's the word I was going to
better
go for.
word.
Like I can show concern for someone for the way that they are, but I would never look at someone and say like you're disgusting.
But is it any
Like,
different than if you see somebody who's extremely anorexic, they're 50 pounds, you look at them and you're in shock? Oh my God, like something happens in your body you can't control. You can't stop.
That's he has a really good way of explaining
Like,
things.
how
Hold on.
can
I want to
you
see
not
how he
stop? No,
reacts.
I don't hate them.
That's different
It's just
from-
wow, oh my God, it's like it's disgusting. Like holy goodness
But
gracious.
why
That's a
would
shock
you
factor,
use
though.
the word
That's
disgusting,
not
right?
disgusting.
So you just mentioned the polar opposite of what we are, right? But why would you look at them and be disgusted versus concerned? That is a very specific word, and it has very specific connotations behind it. And when it's used, it's somewhat weaponized as well.
I don't think we can help how we feel. I don't think I can choose like, oh, I just am not. It would be sitting here and lying. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm always going to be honest with people. I'm disgusted. This is just how I feel.
The thing is, when you see a fat person, the reason why it's disgusting and the reason why there's so much pushback on this whole body positivity and people make fun of Lizzo, rightfully so, by the way, is because it's unattractive, it's unhealthy. Until we had this woke era, they used to put like models and attractive people on the cover of magazines that were in shape. Why? So that people can aspire to look like that. And it's healthy and it looks better in general. You look good, feel good. But when you're fat, it says a lot about you. People aren't going to sit there and be like, let me see if he's a good person. No, they're just going to assume that you're lazy, which you are, by the way, when you're fat, and you don't have discipline, which you are, by the way. So they're just going to assume off of what they see. That's the world that we live in.
I love how you stated a ton of assumptions. You didn't state not one fact. You just stated assumptions.
I want to move on to the next prompt, but we're definitely.
Can I say one thing? Just one question. Like, let's say you knew he used to be 600 pounds, and how much do you weigh now?
I'm 384.
And now he's 384. Do you see him as less disgusting knowing he's lost 220 pounds?
No, that's fantastic.
I
but
think yes,
There's still
less.
work to be done. But here's the thing, like I said before, unfortunately, human beings judge a book by its cover. It's just the world that we live in. Fat people, people that identify as 97 genders, whatever, they expect us to change our worldview for them, and that's just not how the world works. Like it's been that way. It's always going to be that way.
That's I think what I don't
See, like I wouldn't get like he does talk about gender and stuff like that, but the only thing I see about those is that wouldn't have any like health implication. You know what I mean? If we're only talking about health implications, that's where you can get a little bit controversial, and you're right to point it out to somebody, or if or the only way I could see him like speaking out about the other topic is if like some form of indoctrination is involved, like whether it's in schools and whether you want to call it that or not. Completely up to you. I'm not talking about that field or whatever. But I do see his concern.
We gotta,
It's just the
we
world
gotta
that we're in.
reset.
Like people are gonna, yeah.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, my bad.
Now let's reset. Jacked men are more attractive than fat men. Will the agreeers please step forward?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's pretty much everybody. Oh my God,
How come there's
nobody.
4 guys over there? All right, so we're living in a bizarre world where people don't see the truth. Like, how is it possible that they're thinking, no, being obese and unhealthy is more attractive than being fit and healthy? How is this possible?
Actually, you know what? This is precisely why a majority of women find the majority of men as unattractive. Because a lot of guys think this way, oh, I just be a nice guy and girls are gonna like me. No, they're not. She's not gonna suck your dick with the same veracity when you're a fat.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this guy he does bring up a good point, even though obesity is slightly more prevalent in women, but I do get what he says. Cause how do I explain it? Attraction women for men is at least very even and it's very like normal, whereas for women it's like the top 10%. I forgot what it's called. There's a certain term for it. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen. The top 10% or the top 10% attract nearly 100% of all women, whereas the bottom 80% only attract like 5. So you see this 10% of people absolutely like flooded in DMs, like to extreme amounts. The average woman gets like some pretty good flood-ins, but the average dude like completely almost nothing. So see what he
when
says
you're in
about
shape.
that.
She's just not. See, people don't understand that women are aroused by one thing and they're attracted by another thing. Women are attracted to, you know, a guy that's confident, ambitious, makes money, etc.
Well, yeah, but you can say that. Yeah, you can say that about both parties equally. So yeah, this is specifically talking about Jack and
right?
Fatman, but I wouldn't really use it as a direct excuse for the whole what's it called? That one term, pop the image up on the screen with all of the arrows. I wouldn't use that as an exact reason for
But
that.
they're aroused by guys that have asshole tendencies, dark triad traits, etc., and guys that are physically in shape. So if you wanna
Nah,
get the-
okay. He said dark triad traits. Pop that up on the screen. What's what's the term called? I've been seeing a lot of edits of that lately. I know this video is a year old before the trend
best of
started.
your woman, where she respects and
interesting.
admires you, while simultaneously being aroused by you, so she doesn't cheat on you. You need to have it all.
You're saying that's true for all women?
A majority, a staggering majority of women.
There might be 1% of the world that there's something wrong with them that might think that, yeah, you're 600 pounds, it's so hot, I love that, but...
The hot girls that you actually want, they exercise their hypergamy to the highest degree, and they want guys.
Hypergamy, that's what it's called.
Have their money together, have their life together.
You're looking at me like you want to say something.
Because the question was, are Jack men more attractive? We all walked over. Are we more attracted to Jack men?
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming they framed that because we're all guys here they mean women.
Well, men can be attracted to
If
men.
I had to
we're just
switch
saying.
teams, I'm going with the Jack guy.
Obviously, this is going to be like personal biases, but I think attraction is very fluid in the sense that I can 100% admit, like, there was probably 40 pounds of muscle ago is when most women would be like attracted to me. Of course, like fitness girls.
Yeah, at that point, specifically like for bodybuilders and stuff like that, once you exceed a certain weight, like there, and this guy, he's past accepting that, but specifically competing wise, once you exceed a certain weight, there is a point where you're like at the pretty much this isn't gonna get any more attention from the opposite gender or whatever. So I really gotta think. You really gotta think of what your goals are. If your goals are for the competition and everything like that, like just like competitive wise, then that's right. But you have to go in with the right mindset, because if you go in with the mindset, oh, I'm doing this even more so for attention, it's gonna just screw you over in the head. But this guy's really good at accepting that where the physique he built, of course, is attractive to some, but it's mainly for a competition and influencer sense, if you get what I mean, or at least online present sense, like more for
They're totally
competing
okay with the size I am, but like probably most girls I'm like too much for. So I guess like where do we draw that line of like, I think for example like you would be much more attractive to most women than me. Would you agree with that?
I mean, that doesn't mean that like if you walked up to a girl and let's say you're not her, like you're a little bit more muscular than she would like. If you have the charm and charisma, she gonna still go with you, man. It don't matter. Like,
oh yeah, that's one thing you can get away with being a dude. You can be like completely like chopped. You can be like any of these guys. You just have to be like funny as shit, because attraction is not as like a visual, I guess. But that's one thing you can get away with. So I see what he means. But like back on the topic, objectively speaking, he would be correct on this,
Point.
or at least they're all correct.
No shade on you, but if you had Zach, right, you're on the end.
Yep.
If you put Zach and Greg and you put them next to each other and you did a poll, I think that most women would probably pick him if you had to like, because he's got the height and all that, what would you guys say to that?
No.
No. Well, we can put it to the test.
But that's not really fair. I'm 48 years old. He's a lot younger than me. He's about a foot taller than me, but you can't compare. I'm an old man. I'm 48 years old.
Obviously, height is a big component. So that you know, so it's not you're comparing apples to oranges. But if you take the same guy, same height, etc., but one guy is fat, one guy's in good shape.
Yeah, that was kind of unfair comparison because, bro, this dude's probably gonna win a lot more.
Because I've been so surprised to see on Instagram, there'll be like guys doing like an outfit try on, like not in shape in the slightest bit, and all the comments are women like, "I wish like men knew this is how we wish they looked," and like, "Oh, this is like the dream."
They're
liars,
media.
Liars for
To look good.
One thing
for
about
clout.
you can never believe what women say, man. You believe how they behave, not what they say.
He is correct that. Wait, I want to hear what this guy.
That's a different episode.
That's all right. Figure it out.
I mean, yeah, he was gonna talk about that, but more so on that topic. Like, you could see somebody make a post, and it's like not, and this is by no means like women in general, but it could be like it could be a physique. They could have like a pretty good physique or something like that. Maybe it's like a professional bodybuilder, like these two guys in an off season or something like that. And then there could be like, oh, this is the best physique. Like, this is the dad bod. This is what I like. And then it's just like, oh my god, that is so like that is just wild to say. Like, you just comment like no way you just commented that under a physique of an off season bodybuilder. Of course, they have slightly more fat on them, but that's by no means a dad bod. I think this guy represented it perfectly. That's what a dad bod looks like. People really skewer that, and that's not to blame on no single gender. It obviously leans a little bit more, but we're not gonna bring that subject matter into this. But that is something that has been a lot that is skewed a lot to whether it's guys that don't work out or just maybe some ignorant women, but just some. Like, I want to just keep it there. But yeah, even my lifting teacher, I'd say he's like what 240 pounds. He looks like a pretty giant dude. You can tell he works out by just looking at him. He's a pretty big dude. People say he has a dad bod, which is completely like false. I don't know why. I don't know how people get that delusion. I guess it's just it's there's no single person to blame. Misinformation is what leads to that, but he does make sense on a certain level about it.
Yeah. I disagreed mostly just with the blanket statement because attraction is so subjective. I am a big and tall model by trade. That's what I do. I model clothing brands. I've modeled with major fashion houses. I've been on the covers of magazines. You mentioned before dad bod comments and whatnot and on social media. I was flabbergasted when I started how many people were commenting and DMing me and talking about how attractive I was. That it just kind of, I don't know, showed me that attraction is a lot more subjective than I thought, and people have a much wider range of what they find attractive than specifically a body type.
Is being jacked the most important trait for being attractive? I'd argue for guys, it'd probably be otherwise, right? I think height would be a bigger
money,
component.
height, fame, like what can you bring to the table?
Oh, it's just how funny. How funny is just an extremely big factor. I cannot
what they think they can get. So if this guy is 6'5" and extremely attractive, and it's like, well, I can't get that guy. I'm attracted to the 10 on 10 supermodel, but I'm not going to get her, so I'll be happy with the 9.9 on 10.
Just to be clear, are we speaking about women being attracted to men?
It's not just about women. It's just about attraction. What is the most attractive, in your opinion, physique for a man?
Okay, I'm speaking from like what women find attractive. So when I speak, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm sexually fluid. So my law of attraction does not adhere to anyone's standards, pretty much. I'm attracted to people in general. So you could be jacked, you could be more plus size, you could be...
He's gonna, bro, he looks like he's gonna get pissed. Oh, it is a little bit scary seeing this guy say it. I'm like, I don't dislike him by no means, but bro, he was standing here thinking. That's the thing about him. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to turn this into a multiple series video. Like, we're already 16 minutes in, and I've been recording for 40 minutes. Holy shit! So, this is gonna have to turn into a 1, 2, 3, 4. This is gonna have to turn into a 10-part like video series, perhaps. But yeah,
be skinny. You could be whatever it is that you are. If I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you.
What are the traits you find most attractive?
I think the way that you carry yourself is a really big thing for me. I can't date someone who lacks confidence because I feel like that seeps into other aspects of your life.
Do you mind if I jump in on the confidence?
Yeah, that is the above all else, like above all of this, that is the just the number one thing, like how somebody carries themselves, how comfortable they are in their skin. Obviously, to be honest, these could be really big factors, but
Yeah.
number one speaking.
So growing up, wasn't too confident in myself, and I gained that confidence when I started losing weight.
There's a fucking spider. Oh shit, that one's big. It has white spots on its back. I have to catch it. Where the fuck did it go? Guys, look what I got. It's coconut water. It's on top of about 370 milligrams of potassium for that deep low. Yeah, fuck, I do not know where that spider went. Anyways, let's go back into the video.
And I noticed it was me putting myself in positions to get more opportunities with women. Right now, I'm single right now, but I'm doing okay. But the confidence came from me losing weight. So I do agree that it's a subjective kind of standpoint, but socially, I understand that physically fit men.
He's
that's
thinking.
just like what everyone's liking. It's like
I don't
that's
think
what
it's as
trends towards.
subjective as guys are trying to say. Attraction isn't a choice, and there are hardwired traits that women look for in men. And what I've come to realize is that what women put out there is what they find attractive or politically correct things. Oh, he has a dad bod. He's nice. He's a good guy. The reality is that women don't respond well and favorably to these men. There's a reason why nice guys finish last is a thing. It's because when you're too nice and you kind of bend to her will, etc., girls aren't aroused by that. Girls don't want to say what they're really aroused by. Guys that are able to stand up to them, guys that are able to tell them, well, that was a stupid comment, or hold them accountable for their stupidity when they do dumb things.
Yeah, he's gonna stop him there because it's going. This guy is straying off topic a lot because he talks about I guess that's the only critique I have of him, or I guess the only dislike. I don't dislike him. I don't completely dislike him. Sometimes I see the clips of him. I think he's alright, but bro, this guy, like, whether or not it's correct, that's like up to you to think. But bro, this guy's the captain of going off topic. He's gonna stop him there about that.
Women find attractive because these are leadership traits.
Have any of those things happened to you though?
Well, I mean, I've talked to almost 3,000 women, and what I've come to realize from talking to all of them is that most of the time, you know, when they're in a comment section of TikTok, like, you're so handsome.
Or no, I wouldn't say he was going off
Blah,
topic.
blah, blah. Will they actually go on a date and have sex with that guy? Probably not. But they say that because it's politically correct, and women tend to not want to be adversarial. They're going to say what sounds good, but what they're actually aroused by are two different things.
But they're married to those guys.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was
Most
getting to.
often they're married
I'm
to
married.
And
to-
marriage is a failed institution in the West, and this is why most men get divorced by women. This is why they get destroyed in the divorce courts. This is why women overwhelmingly initiated the divorce rates in America. 80% are initiated by women because we sit here and we lie and we believe what women say they're actually attracted to. No, they're not attracted
Let's
to
go
a lot of
back
things
to
they tell them.
attraction for a second though, because I'm married.
Sure.
I have a child.
Cool.
I have a beautiful wife.
Mhm.
I was this size the entire process through it.
Would you say that you're an average guy?
I would say that
You're
I'm
how
bigger
tall?
than
6
average.
feet?
Yeah, I mean, no, I would say he's I mean, at least I would say he's an average guy. Because at least in America, the average weight for a dude, I'll put it up, but it's, I think, 5'10", 200 pounds for a dude. And for clarification, I'm 5'8.5", or whether you want to round up or down, 5'9" or 5'8". To you, I don't give a shit. But 5'8.5", 170 pounds. And for a woman, I think the height is either 5'3" or 5'4", one of those two, and the weight is 170 pounds, which actually startled me a little bit.
You're not an average guy.
For
a
both
model
men and women,
for
'cause, like-
being slightly overweight.
I wasn't a model when I started.
But
dating
you are
my
a very
wife.
good-looking,
I
tall,
was a
big
bartender
guy who's
fucking doing
on
whatever.
magazine covers. So
But I
out
know,
of
I
the
think-
million guys overweight, you're at
But
the
you're not
top.
an average guy.
But
One
I
percent.
think
what
what
I'm
you're
saying-
missing is he just said that he wasn't any of those things.
He's not 5'6",
before
man, like
he
me.
met his
I
wife.
was-
Try being
I was-
5'6" and doing
No,
it.
I totally agree with you. Well, that's what I was gonna actually agree with Myron for a second. Believe it or not, we're talking about. You mentioned status, and then a lot of people other mentioned confidence. So you even put in your own pecking order ahead of being jacked or.
Nor you so W Tyler, W what's his name, Nick, put it up, and W this dude. They're all speaking. They're all trying to speak as composed and as respectfully as possible. I like that. Obviously Greg, him and him, they do kind of they get a little bit they get just a little bit pressed sometimes,
Being
but
Yeah,
physically
for sure.
attractive. Wouldn't you say that matters more? Confidence, how you carry yourself, how
Yeah,
you do
well,
it.
yeah, I
Well,
mean,
the prompt was simply, is it either you
Oh yeah,
jacked or
and,
are you fat?
I'm not
What's
going to
more
argue the
attractive?
fact that our society definitely finds jack guys more attractive, but I disagreed with the statement because it was a blanket statement that I have found untrue in my own life.
Do you, all of you, feel like you'd be more or less attractive, let's say 50 pounds lighter than you are, and simply like just body fat?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that I struggled with for a while is
is he gonna have okay? I honestly like as respectfully expressed, I would not understand it if he said no because sometimes and at least when I was fat, like sometimes the cope can get so extreme that if somebody asks you a question, the question would you be more happy if you could press a button and you're 50 pounds lighter automatically, you would either say no or try to dodge it completely. So I'm really interested in hearing his answer.
in me losing weight, am I still going to be able to book the jobs that I book? Because I've built an entire brand off of my body. I mean, granted, like, cool as shit, like, I did something that's all my own. Like, I worked on that.
Okay, this okay, he does have an outlier take. I did not expect that. His whole brand is modeled around plus size modeling, so if he lost the weight, that he'd either have to shift super hard. So speaking from a professional and business sense, he wouldn't. And oh, that makes sense now. I mean, whether you and obviously what that whole promotion is, since it's modeling. Plus size modeling is not like I do not like condone it at all, because with the moment you get into instead of just existing as a fat person and starting to like promote being a fat person, starting to create even more cope, that's when it starts to become an issue. But if he's talking in the business sense, now I understand why he would say no. Whether it's good or wrong, I would now understand why he would say no to pressing that button. But not saying what he's promoting is good. I'm completely against that.
But then I was also just like, if I lose this, are you still gonna want me to like do this campaign for you? Are you still gonna want me in your magazine? Are you still gonna want to dress me? And then I had to like take a step back and say like, well, what is it for me? Do I want to be skinny? No. Do I want to look like Greg? No. Do I want to look like Myron? No. But I know I want to look like me. I think talking about the law of attraction, you focus so heavy about what women.
Now that he shifts from a business standpoint to just law of attraction, I guess that it'd have to be extremely rare for somebody to prefer themselves being larger, because it just doesn't feel good at all. It doesn't feel good being large, moving around. You can't jump, you can't climb. And I know it's a little bit childish to say that, but sometimes even as an adult, you want to jump on something, you want to climb something, you want to be able to move easier, you want to be able to play with your grandkids someday. Obviously, like you're just like you're just limiting your your biology by letting yourself get to that
attractive and the
weight.
perspective of the woman. And I feel like, are you even attracted to yourself? When you look in that mirror, when you put your clothes on, are you like, damn, like I did that? Because when I got up this morning and I threw on my outfit, I was just like, yeah, I ate that.
Well, if you're going to talk about being attractive, etc., typically people are speaking from a romantic sense, from a heterosexual standpoint of men and women. So that's why I answered the question, because it was very broad. That's what I mean. But of course, you need to be able to look at the mirror and respect the man that you see looking back at you. When you look back and you see the guy and you're in shape, etc., and you feel good about yourself, look good, feel good. A byproduct of that is that women just tend to find you more attractive. It all works together in tandem.
Are you happy with the way you look?
Of course,
And
But I had to work to build this physique, and it took many years. I was an athlete in college, was a Division I athlete. It took many years to be able to do this. So,
Fresh and Fit
I rode in
podcast.
college. Crew.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I like rowing.
So I think when fat people look at the mirror and they say, "Oh, I like that," that's coat, man. No, you don't. They say that to try to bring themselves up, but the reality is, most of the time when you're fat, you look in the mirror, you're like, "Damn, I really let myself go."
Not every
You're like,
fat
you know what?
person-
It's not that much of a priority, so fuck it.
Abe didn't get to answer the question going around.
Yeah, I was in the same boat as you, just because I feel like I don't agree with the blanket statement. Personally, for myself as a gay man, I find myself attractive. I would say like I go for guys like you as well, and I feel like I get a lot of hits on those types of guys, and I'm pretty content with how I navigate my attraction, and I think it goes a lot to the status and their confidence. So, like we said, so.
All right, let's go to the next prompt. After 4 years, the Radical Empathy podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop it there. That was a good ass video, guys. This video is too long. We're gonna have to do parts on it. But again, if you guys want to see part 2, go ahead and comment. And anything. And if you guys have any opinions, no matter how wild, like I would never ever. One thing on this channel I want to keep in mind is like I'm never ever like gonna flag anybody's comment like ever. I don't want to ever get offended. I mean, I wouldn't know like if you want to take shots at me, go ahead. But bro, comment whatever. I want to make the comment section as unfiltered as possible. Obviously, don't do anything that YouTube's algorithm is gonna take down. But feel free to comment whatever opinion you like. I would like to have friendly. I would have to have like respectful, sympathetic, not like empathetic, but like respectful, sympathetic debates. Down to that. I'm down to talking to people from all different kinds of like philosophies about that, like specifically fitness speaking. But yeah, I am about it. So go ahead, comment anything you guys want. Before and I'm gonna say before the video starts, comment any opinion you guys want. I am down to hear it. I'm down to have a conversation about it. Comment anything. Don't do anything that flags YouTube's filter, but comment anything. That was for the intro. Alright, that's going to be everything for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with part 2, maybe Saturday or Sunday, but we'll see.